Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Before the video starts, I really wanted to thank you guys for the support of the channel these past few months. And for the 1000 subscriber special, I wanted to make a very full, straight to the point video on how to improve the 100 meters. The 100 meter dash is a discipline that requires a balance of multiple components to be successful at. In order to improve your 100 meter dash, you need to develop your acceleration, top speed, and speed endurance whilst also honing in your technique. While it's not completely necessary to improve speed, the gym can also be a very valuable asset that can lead to a state previously not attained. It is important to note that the gym alone cannot make you faster, but when paired with a balanced sprint training program, it can be very helpful. In this video, I aim to give you guys a holistic approach to creating your own training program to improve your 100 meter dash. In periodization, there are macro cycles, mesocycles, and microcycles. A macro cycle refers to a season of training in its entirety. It is an annual plan that works towards peaking for the major competitions of the year. A mesocycle is an intermediate training block or phase within the larger macro cycle, which is the overall training plan. Mesocycles in sprint training usually range between 3-1 and 2-1 training approaches. What does it mean exactly though? A 3-1 mesocycle is basically 3 weeks of intense training load followed by a week of a deload period. A deload involves a temporary decrease in training volume, intensity, or both to allow for recovery and adaptation before ramping up again. While deloading in a sprint training program, it's important to keep the intensities high during sprint repetitions, but keep the volume low. A good rule of thumb that I use during my deloads is a 50% decrease in volume while maintaining sprint intensities at greater than or equal to 95%. In the gym, I also decrease the volume by 50%, but I decrease the intensity by 10%. When it comes to microcycles, a lot of times people get stuck up on the traditional 7-day week model. It is important to note that sprint training requires a significant amount of recovery in between high intensity sessions, so most of the time you won't be able to fit everything you want in 7 days. Sometimes using a 9 or 10-day cycle might be better for you as it allows for more recovery. Of course, this is all relative and depends on the individual's abilities and goals. When it comes to the 100 meters, it is imperative that you have a powerful start if you want to be competitive. Due to the nature of acceleration training, the velocities that are attained aren't as high as top speed or speed endurance. Having said this, acceleration training can be done more frequently than top speed work. Acceleration training is usually between 10 to 30 meters depending on the athlete's level. Blocks are used to channel the athlete's horizontal force by setting up the athlete's shin angles to strike the ground at better angles. Blocks are usually the last progression in the series of starts positions. Usually novice sprinters start with a 2-point start, then 3-point start, and finally a 4-point start, usually from blocks. In acceleration training, there are plenty of ways to improve your initial power production through the use of resisted sprints. There are many forms of adding resistance to your sprints, but the most common form are sleds. When performing sled sprints, make sure the loads are between 20 and 10% of your body weight to elicit the most transfer to sprint performance. In certain cases, doing heavy sled marches or sled pushes could be beneficial to those who struggle with total force production or if you are looking to expand your total force production in the off season. Make sure to take a look at my How to Improve Your Acceleration video for a more in-depth analysis of acceleration training. Next up is a very crucial determinant of your 100 meter ability, and that is your top speed. Top speed is the most intense form of sprint training and cannot be done very frequently. You typically need 48 plus hours of rest after an intense top speed session. Top speed sprinting is usually found in the form of flying sprints. Flying sprints are a drill where you allow the athlete a 20 to 30 meter acceleration zone, followed by a fly 10 to 30 meter zone. The purpose of this form of training is to achieve the highest possible speed in between those zones. Now, the part that people most commonly mess up is how to ensure that top speed is isolated during this exercise. To ensure that top speed is isolated, athletes should incorporate roll-in starts. A roll-in start or jog-in start is where the athlete starts while they're already in motion. Here's an example of what that looks like. Roll-in starts allows for the body to focus its energy on upright maximal sprinting. When you do a stationary start, your body is challenged to overcome inertia, and that process takes a lot of energy. Rolling starts are a great way to isolate top speed without taxing the body from acceleration. Intensities have to be 95 to 100% to obtain the best results. So for example, if your best flying 10 is 1 second, you would divide 1 by 0.95 And that would tell you the minimum time you would have to run to stimulate change, which is 1.05. When it comes to speed training in general, a good rule of thumb is 1 minute of rest per 10 meters ran, and 95% or higher intensities to promote speed gains. Make sure to take a look at my How to Improve Your Top Speed video for a more in-depth look at top speed training. In the last 30 to 40 meters of the 100 meter race, athletes look like they have a massive speed boost, but in reality, they just maintain near their top speed for longer than their competitors. This is an ability that can be trained, but remember, your speed endurance will only ever be as good as your top speed. This is because you can only endure what is, so it is important to not neglect top speed and acceleration. In order to improve your speed endurance, you need to reach near or at top speed and challenge the body to maintain that speed through a long enough distance. For the 100 meter dash, the short speed endurance, long speed endurance, and special endurance 1 is the range that is applicable. For a 100 meter sprinter, you could do up to 200 through 250 meters, but it's important to also do short speed and long speed endurance to get that specific benefits from those distances as well. Following a short to long periodized approach where you start off at the shorter distances and then progress to longer distances, as the season approaches, you would start with short speed endurance, then progress to long speed endurance, and finally special endurance 1. Here's a chart with all the info that states distance for each type of speed endurance training, rest times, and intensities. Refer to my How to Improve Your Speed Endurance video for a better look at speed endurance training. Plyometrics offer an outlet to improve forces in the limited time constraint that is specific to sprinting. The plyometrics you perform to improve top speed must be done within the time constraints that are similar to your ground contact times during top speed. So for example, if during your max effort flying sprint, your ground contact times are 0.1 seconds, most plyometrics should be near that amount of time. Some good exercises that are typically within that range are tuck jumps, pogo hops, and low hurdle hops. More advanced athletes are capable of matching the ground contact times necessary during single leg movements like single leg hops. So ideally, instead of pairing top speed workouts with a weight room workout, you'd want to pair it with a plyometric session. Now, all of this doesn't mean the weight room is useless, it just primarily helps the early acceleration portion of the 100 meter race, which still holds some merit. When it comes to training in the gym for speed, there are many great exercises you can do to improve rate of force development. Moving heavy and lightweight as fast as you can helps improve total body force and power, helping you exceed in your block start. Typically, you want to spend the off-season moving heavier weight through longer ranges of motions, focusing on developing yourself a solid base of total force production. As you get closer to the season, you want to focus on shortening the ranges of motions to mimic more sport-specific positions. The closer to competition, the faster the bar velocities are. Some great exercises to develop overall body power and rapid hip extensions are power cleans. A common mistake people make is squatting all the way to the ground and they call it a power clean, when in fact it is a full clean. A power clean is when you catch the weight in a quarter squat position. Power cleans are more sport specific because the shorter ranges of motion require your body to exert a higher amount of force in a shorter amount of time. This doesn't mean full cleans aren't good, but they would typically be something you do further away from competition. Here is a list of good exercises you can incorporate into your program. Box squats, split stance squats, quarter pin squats, quarter split stance pin squats, power cleans, power snatches, clean and jerks, single leg leg presses, reverse leg press, and hex bar deadlift jumps. Here's 2 example weekly workout schedules to improve your 100 meter dash. Obviously this is very bare bones and very generalized, but I wanted to give you something that you guys could work off of. When designing your own plan, it's important to note the importance of recovery. You need about 48 hours of rest after intense speed sessions like top speed and speed endurance. It's important to also get enough sleep, about 8 to 10 hours, whilst also eating enough calories to fuel your activity level with adequate amounts of protein, about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember to always strive to be better and stay planetary.